Can a narcissist actually change? Is it truly even possible? Well, there's plenty of ways that a narcissist changes. They can change their entire persona depending on where they are and who is in front of them. They can change the subject of a conversation faster than a peregrine falcon can turn a sitting duck into dinner. They can even change the color of their eyes to become black as the night sky right in front of yours. There are plenty of ways that a narcissist can change, but will they change? Will they actually improve? Well, that's a different story altogether. One of that, the opinion varies depending on who you ask, which will come back to the reasons behind why this varies in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the facts through a biological, psychological, and neurological way, and how the structure of our brain play in the role of anyone changing. Then, in comparison to how it relates to narcissistic personality disorder, because understanding why or how something works, it's a lot easier to understand and grasp when something is astray or off. So here we go. From a neurological standpoint, MRIs have revealed that holding firm in one's belief activates our nucleus accumbens, the pleasure part of our brain, where changing one's belief stimulates the insula, which is the same area in the brain that gets triggered by anxiety, fear, or disgust. But this process happens at the unconscious level and occurs in less than a split second, and as such is one of the biggest reasons behind why it's hard for anyone to change, because our brain is structured in a way to not only resist change, but actually get rewarded for us standing our ground and staying firm with our original beliefs. Biologically, our brain is designed to actively want to reserve energy, doing so by following a predictable pathway, as sticking to familiar pathways requires less energy. This phenomenon known as the law of least effort. To the contrary, when we are uncertain about something, it requires our brain to use a significantly more amount of energy, manifested by the triggering of an increased uptake of glucose. Changing how we do even the simplest of tasks is mentally taxing, leading to biologically are prone to retract from change in an effort to conserve energy. From a psychological standpoint, there are also many components that attribute to our having a lesser or greater probability changing our behaviors, habits, and beliefs that are a blend of both internal and external influences, such as our own personal values and beliefs, a significant life change such as the birth of a child, career opportunity, a healthcare scare, social influences, our emotions, self-awareness, self-efficiency, the environment and people we are around, as well as how we perceived and the personality developed early on in childhood, of common phenomena and human tendencies that too can stand in the way, such as confirmation bias, which is when our brain pays more attention to the information that agree with what it previously believed, only looking at the evidence that supports our ideas and not the whole picture. Belief perseverance is when you keep believing something is true even after you get new information that clearly shows it might not actually be true, and contributes to why we hold on to things versus letting something go. The illusion of explanatory depth. This is when we believe we understand how something works much more deeply than we actually do. Kind of like thinking you know exactly how a magic trick works until someone asks you to explain it step by step, and then suddenly you realize you aren't able to. Avoidance of complexity, our natural tendency to steer clear of things that seem complicated or difficult to understand for things that are straightforward and easy. Two of the biggest problems with these phenomena is that one, they can actually lead to false hope that then in turn can put us in harm's way. And two, we're more likely to accept misinformation, overly optimistic assumptions, and or unrealistic expectations of the outcome. In some of the areas that help aid in our ability to change, having a strong sense of self-awareness helps tremendously in an individual noticing their own pattern of behaviors, including what triggers them to go about or behave in certain ways, giving us almost a blueprint of our habits. Being more self-aware also allows us to better understand our strengths and our weaknesses, dig deeper into why we do the things that we do, set achievable goals for ourselves because we're aware of our limits and our capabilities, and is more or less the key in our being able to manage our emotions and behaviors, and lights up the pathway, so to speak, in our being able to change. Empathy is another powerful motivator, primarily due to our understanding that the things that we do aren't just affecting our own life, but are affecting the lives of others. By having this understanding motivates us to want to change. Also is aiding in building even a stronger, healthier relationship by making them feel respected, loved, and understood. It also plays a huge part in our being able to connect with ourselves by recognizing our own needs. But according to experts, the biggest reasons for and largest underlying determinants whether anyone will in fact change are due to one of three factors in combination with a fourth. We are completely enthralled by another person that we are inspired to change. We have been deeply wounded enough or put in a position where we have to change, or we have learned enough through trial and error, our mistakes, and our failures that we want to change, in combination with the belief that we can and badly desire change enough that we're actually able to make it happen. Now, looking at it in terms and how this relates to narcissistic personality disorder, due to their binary or black and white way of thinking, refusal of being self-aware, seeing others as more of an object and themselves as they are a one-dimensional identity, but making them incapable to form any kind of bond, empathy, object constancy, whole object relations, and this delusional idea of themselves becoming the only thing of significant value and importance to them, fighting at all cost to obtain this delusional belief. And as such, they're not going to develop or feel in awe of another that's going to inspire them to want to change, but rather grow to be envious, seeing them as a threat to potentially take their throne as dictator of Fantasyland Island, therefore ruling out the inspiration. As well as in order to upkeep this delusional belief, they project the blame and fault outwards on to somebody else, having absolutely no accountability or responsibility for the things that they do, reflecting everything outward so nothing ever sticks to them, and therefore in turn have no guilt or remorse of any kind. To which rules out learning enough from their mistakes to want to change. They too refuse to have any kind of self-reflection or self-awareness by remaining in this perpetual state of denial from who they really are, doing whatever they can at all cost to run away from the truth and reality, and as such have falsely convinced themselves that they are the only ones that never have any reason for changing. The only thing that is important to them is upholding this image. Because unlike any other disorder, their disorder works for them. And the impact that it has on one's life isn't to the narcissist, but to the ones that they project their problems and abuse onto. You cannot help anyone who isn't willing to help themselves. And a narcissist, not only do they not want your help, but they want to stay broken because it works for them. And that is the most dangerous part about this entire disorder. Unfortunately, due to all of the reasons and factors discussed, most of society will continue to stick to their original beliefs as to whether they feel that it is possible for narcissists to change. And as such, sadly, is truly, by far, hands down, the number one reason that we can ensure that they won't and that they never will. As well as it guarantees that more and more individuals, one after the next, will unnecessarily suffer at the expense of their hands as a result. Because as long as they have but one person enabling them and fueling their supply, that in turn will keep their delusions alive, giving them no reason to even consider thinking about their needing changing. To which there are many reasons, excuses, or ways that we can find to justify why any given person may choose to defend or enable them, some of which occur at the subconscious level. Some are literally just by default that stem from human tendency, fear of the unknown, having empathy, trauma bonding, wanting to believe that there's some kind of good in everyone, as well as the belief that love and compassion can cure all. But here's the thing. By enabling or defending the narcissist, or looking at it in terms of having pity on them from having a personality disorder, only does this not help the narcissist at all, but it too is aiding in the multiple countless number of other people that it in turn is bringing about suffering, victim shaming, and set you up to becoming the next target that they prey on. And by sugarcoating the fact or fill these gaps with the optimism of saying that there's a strong chance that these individuals aren't going to change, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. And well, though, I don't have the right or the power to say what is possible or not. However, it is more probable for pigs to fly than it is for a narcissist to make legitimate change. And there's no way these institutions, doctors, or common layperson can say that yes, in fact, they have seen a narcissist change without monitoring these individuals 24/7 indefinitely. Because here's why. These individuals are pathological liars. Change the narrative of their plot and shapeshift into a new persona depending on who is in front of them. They have no guilt, remorse, or mercy, and they get off by leading double lives and feeling like they are privy to this little secret. They will tell you, therapists, psychiatrists, lawyers, judges, whoever, whatever it is that they want to hear in order for them to do so. At this time, there is no cure for narcissistic personality disorder. And by sugarcoating it and beating around the bush as if things are possible, keeps people in these horrific relationships for far too long, sometimes their entire lives, as well as enhances society's belief that they aren't as bad as what they are. So, well, can they change? They can change for the worse day by day, but they are not going to change for the better, to believe that they're going to, or hold on to the hope that they can, only takes away from your life and or sets you up to becoming the next victim of theirs. And no one deserves what these individuals that are far more than just some disordered personality, but are inherently evil, bestow onto others, deliberately, just so they can avoid having to face the reality or the truth of any kind. Fuck that. Fight for you. Save you. Focus on you. Fuck the narcissist.